actually using them, so that's wonderful. So one last little piece of instruction, as always, if I tell you to do something and it does not feel good in your body, I would love you to do something else. Remember, child's pose is great. Other stretches are great. Sitting and glaring at me is fine. But remember, listen to your body today, okay? So as always, let's get started by finding a comfortable seat. Remembering that that looks different in everyone's body. So I invite you to become comfortable. In my body right now, it is fairly comfortable to sit like this, although I may have to pop this leg up later. But if this is not a comfortable position for you, put your legs up, sit on a pillow, whatever works best for you. And then once you've found that comfortable seat, that space to begin, simply bring your hands to your heart and close your eyes. And begin to cultivate some nice deep belly breaths, really breathing from the center of your being. Give yourself full deep breaths. Now, as you breathe, begin to attach a little bit of movement to that breath cycle. So on your inhale, feel your spine roll out nice and long, sit tall on your mat, and exhale, soften a little bit, melt your shoulders. Inhaling, lifting, rising, lengthening, and exhaling to soften. On this next exhale, release your hands down to the mat, and then on your inhale, sweep your fingertips to the sky. Exhale, turn to the right, let one hand fall in front of you and one behind. Inhaling to center, and exhale, turn to the left, release your hands down. Inhale to center, and turn to the right. And let's just follow this pattern, this twisting, opening breath. On your next inhale, sweep your hands to the sky, and this time exhale, hands come to heart center. Take a moment right here to set your intention for your practice today. Now, one of the beautiful things about a practice is that it can actually be dedicated to certain things. So we can offer our practices up as gifts or as prayers. And obviously, Frederick has had a very hard time this morning. So if you'd like to take your practice and dedicate it to any of the victims of this morning's shooting, that can be a beautiful way to integrate active work in the world with your yoga practice. So take a moment to set your intention or to choose a dedication. And then once your intention or dedication is set, simply release your hands down to the mat, and let's sweep our feet around behind us and get into tabletop. So remembering that in tabletop, wrists come beneath the shoulders, knees are under the hips. Let's find some movement in our spines. On your inhale, roll your heart open, tip your tailbone to the sky. And exhale, coil your belly in and drop the crown of your head. Inhaling, rolling open. And exhaling to coil. Now, yogi's choice right here. So you can stay in cat-cow if this feels awesome. Stay right here. You are also welcome to find some free-form movement if that would feel good. So you can find sahaja expression, shifting from side to side, forward or back. And again, this space is just to get us integrated with movement, to get our spines to loosen up a little bit. Make your way back to stillness and to a neutral spine, and draw your knees a little closer together beneath your hips so that they're centered underneath you. On your inhale, extend your right leg long behind you, lower the tip of your toe to the mat and begin to press into that right heel. Stretch out your calf. Remember that you can always adjust this movement to your desired level of stretch. You can soften that stretch or deepen it. You can also find a slow rolling expression into and out of the stretch. It's just whatever feels better in your body today. And then lower your right knee down to join your left. Let's feel that on the other side. Inhale to extend that left leg long behind you. Lower your toe down to the mat and begin to press into that left heel. Stretch out your calf. Same options, of course. Stretch to your desired level of intensity. Sustain the stretch or find a slow rolling motion, whichever feels better. And then lower your left knee down to join the right. So we're going to transition into forward fold here. You can walk your hands back to stand or step your feet forward, whichever works better. And once you've reached that position, simply surrender into your forward fold. Let it be a little on the clumsy and messy side. Just relax. Relax your head and your neck. Find some movement if that would feel good. Try to relax your jaw. Just breathe. And then come back to center, to stillness. Bend your knees. Exhale. Roll your way all the way up to standing. Inhale, rise and open. Sweep your fingertips to the sky. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Release your hands down by your sides. And if you're not already there, make your way to the top of your mat. And we're going to set up our first mountain pose of class. So as always, take a moment to root your feet. You really want to feel them about a hip's distance apart. So if you find those bony spots on the front of your hips and you trace a line straight down, your feet will be directly beneath you. Bring your hands to your belly and start by giving your belly some love, some gratitude. And then find that space just beneath your navel and draw those muscles in and up, and it will make your tailbone lengthen. Keep that as you roll your shoulders back and down and let your palms face forward. On your inhale, sweep your fingertips to the sky. Exhale, pour over your legs, bowing. Plant your fingertips onto the mat or onto a set of blocks. And on your inhale, step your right foot back to lunge. Lower that right knee all the way down to the mat. Good. So from here, we're going to begin to flow. On your next exhale, shift your left hip back. Those left toes might come off the mat a little bit. Inhaling, shifting forward. As the left knee bends, melt your right hip toward the mat. Stretch that hip flexor out. And then exhale, shifting back. Inhaling forward. And just follow this pattern on your breath, gently allowing the lower body to open, to stretch. And it is just so lovely to be back with you all today doing this. I've missed this class so much. Let your next inhale bring you forward to lunge. And from here, we will shift to tabletop. So once again, knees come beneath the hips, wrists are under the shoulders. And let's find a little more spinal movement. So yogi's choice. You can choose cat-cow here, rolling open and then exhaling to coil. Or you can find some free form spinal movement. So whatever feels better, right? Just answering the call of your body. Find your way back to your neutral spine. Set your blocks wide if you're using them and walk your hands one handstand forward. Shift your shoulders over your wrists. Now check in here. What we want for half plank is knees, hips, and shoulders to be in one long line. If you need to move your hands forward or back to get that, no worries. Draw your navel toward your spine. Keep that tailbone nice and long as you bend your elbows and begin to lower your half plank down to the mat with control, nice and slowly. And if it's too much, just come on down. Walk your toes when you walk your toes back when you touch down and relax onto the mat. Bring your fingertips wide. They can come off the mat and begin to roll your shoulders, one and then the other. Finding creative cobra, relaxing, loosening up the space in between your shoulder blades where we store so much tension. Return your hands to beneath your shoulders and press back. Tabletop, or if it is in your practice and you would like to feel it, you are welcome to take downward facing dog here. Now, wherever you have landed, I'd like you to find movement. So if you're in tabletop, that's cat-cow or freeform spinal movement. If you're in downward dog with me right now, walk it out. Bend one knee and then the other. Stretch. And then come to stillness. Stabilize your position wherever you happen to be. Inhale to look forward. On your exhale, step your right foot forward between your hands. Now, if your back knee is lifted, go ahead and lower it down to the mat. And we're going to set up that nice, safe, flowing lunge again. So grab your blocks if you were using them. Once again, we want to inhale to look forward. Exhale, shift the hips back. So your right leg will start to stretch out, right toes reaching skyward. Inhale, shift forward. Let your left hip soften toward the mat. And exhale, shift it back. And we just continue to follow the breath right here. Let your next inhale bring you all the way forward to lunge. Turn your left toes under to lift your back knee. Look forward and then step together and soften. Forward fold, rest. Find ease. If movement feels good, find movement. Rock from side to side. And come back to center. Bend your knees. Exhale, roll your way all the way up. Inhale, rise and open. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Check in with your mountain pose. If it moved, no big deal. Just reset, root your feet. Strong belly, open heart. Let those collarbones be nice and broad. Inhale, sweep your fingertips to the sky. Exhale, fold forward. Now this time we add on a little bit. On your inhale, halfway rise. Bring your hands to your shins or to your thighs. Roll your shoulders back and down. So you really want to be trying to generate a flat back here. Legs are as straight as they can be. So you're going to feel a stretch all the way along the backs of your hamstrings and into your back. And then on your next exhale, soften. 2 more times. Inhale, halfway rise. Exhaling, softening. Inhale, halfway. And exhale, bend your knees, plant your fingertips. Inhale to step your left foot back to lunge. Lower that left knee down to the mat. So let's take this flowing lunge a little deeper this time. On your inhale, look forward. Exhale, shift back. Maybe you even walk your hands back this time to get a deeper stretch. Inhale forward, really softening that left hip. And exhale back. Inhale all the way forward to lunge. Bring your knees together. Set your blocks wide if you are using them. Walk your hands one hand span forward, shoulders over the wrists. Find your strong half plank. Knees, hips, and shoulders are in one long line. Engage your belly, draw your navel in. Spine is nice and long here. Bend your elbows with control. Find your way all the way down to the mat and soften. Walk your toes back, create space. Bring your fingertips wide and roll it out. Creative Cobra. Return your hands to beneath your shoulders, press back. Tabletop or downward facing dog, yogi's choice. Find a little movement wherever you happen to be, and then settle, rooting into tabletop or into downward facing dog. On your inhale, look forward. Exhale to step your left foot forward between your hands. If your right knee is lifted, please lower it. Let's set up that lunge on this side. So once again, grabbing blocks if we were using them. Inhale to look forward. Exhale, shift it back nice and deep this time. Really getting that full stretch. Inhale forward, melt your hips. And exhaling back. Let your next inhale bring you all the way forward to lunge. Turn your right toes under to lift your back knee. Look forward and step together and fold. Surrender, relax. Bend your knees, exhale, roll your way all the way up to standing. Inhale, rise and open. Exhale, hands to heart center. Check in with your mountain pose. Reset as necessary. And then root to rise. Root your feet, energy rising up the body, strong core. Inhale, sweep your fingertips to the sky. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, halfway rise. Hands come to the shins or to the thighs. This time we're going to sustain right here. And wherever your fingertips are touching, use that contact point to create even more length in your spine. So press against your hands. And we just breathe nice and easy here. And exhale, bend your knees, plant your fingertips. Inhale, step your right foot back to lunge, lower that right knee down. Now this time we're gonna plant the right hand at the center of the mat. So that hand can be flat to the mat, or we can put it on a block. So you can set your hand flat on a block on either setting, right? You can set that block higher or lower. And then we find that lunge. On your inhale, peel your left arm open to the sky. Exhale, dive your left hand underneath your left leg. Inhaling, peeling open, turning the heart skyward. Exhaling, diving underneath. Just enjoying some of that deep rotation, that gorgeous transverse movement that our spines are making right now. And on this next exhale, both hands come down to the mat. Shift the blocks to the side, knees together. Now listen for the change. Walk your hands forward as your hips stay high and melt your heart toward the mat, belly melting toward the thighs. Now, if this is too much on your shoulder joints, you can bend your elbows and bring your forearms to the mat. Those both get a gorgeous stretch to the spine. And you can find a little breath flow right here. Inhaling, rounding a little bit, lifting up and out. Exhaling, melting toward the mat. On this next exhale, roll your way all the way out and down onto your belly, just threading the heart between the upper arms, and then walk your toes back once you touch down. Now, set yourself up for Sphinx pose. So we're going to bring the elbows to directly beneath the shoulders, and the forearms come directly out from the elbows. So if you can visualize little right angle Lego dude arms, that sometimes helps here. Plant your palms, fingers are spread, press into your forearms and feel how buoyant your shoulders become. All right, keeping that, turn your toes under. Now, draw your awareness to where your hips are resting on the mat. On your next exhale, draw your belly up, then your hips. Maybe we stay at the knees, maybe we float the knees, and find forearm plank. And we just breathe right here. And on your next exhale, roll it back down, knees, quads, hips. Make a pillow with your hands, rest your head, rock your hips from side to side. You can do windshield wiper legs here if that would feel good. Return your fingertips to beneath your shoulders, press back, tabletop or downward facing dog. Once you have stabilized, inhale to look forward. Exhale to step your right foot forward between your hands. Lower that left knee down if it's lifted. So we're going to set up that same twisting lunge. So I'd like you to root your left hand to the center of the mat. Again, you can use a block here if that makes that a little more accessible for you. On your inhale, peel your right arm open, reaching to the sky. Exhale, dive that right arm underneath. Inhaling, peeling open. And exhaling, diving underneath. On your next exhale, both hands come down to the mat. Turn your left toes under, lift that back knee and look forward. Exhale, step together and pull, surrender. Finding ease, breathing. Come to center and to stillness, bend your knees. Exhale, roll your way up. Inhale, rise and open. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Release your hands down by your sides. Set up Tadasana one more time. Last time through our opening namaskar, our opening salutation to the sun. On your inhale, sweep your fingertips to the sky. Exhale to fall. Now, this time we're going to bring our fingertips to our shins or to our thighs and then walk them over to our left side and stretch our heart across. So we're getting a nice deep twist, maybe a stretch in the lower back on the right side. Come back through center, walk your hands over to the right. Again, maybe that right thigh, maybe that right, what do we want to call this? The space in between your calf and shin. And stretch it out. And come back through center. Bend your knees, plant your fingertips. Inhale to step your left foot back to lunge. Lower that left knee down. Grab your block if you were using it before so that we can set up the base for that twist. Plant your left hand at the center of the mat. Inhale, peel your right arm open. This time, let's find shoulder mandalas. Sweep that right hand all the way around in a beautiful circle. Full range of motion here, turning your heart toward the sky at the top. So remember, we're all about the back and neck today, and creating different kinds of movement is part of how we release tension in those spaces. We remind our bodies that they have this incredible range of motion, and our bodies are natural dancers. And return your fingertips down to the mat, space evenly. Knees come beneath the hips. So once again, we're going to do that stretch. Walk your hands forward. Melt your heart toward the mat. Hips stay high, so they're reaching toward the sky. Remember that if this is too much in your shoulders, you can bend your elbows and put your forearms on the mat. This is called puppy dog pose. I don't think it looks a whole lot like a puppy dog, but whatever. And then roll your way all the way out onto your belly. Walk your toes back, create space. Draw your elbows beneath your shoulders. We're going to set up that base, that Sphinx pose first. Press into your forearms and into your hands to create buoyancy. Turn your toes under. On your exhale, begin to roll your way up. So belly, then hips, then knees. Maybe we float here, maybe we leave the knees down. And we breathe, cultivating strength. On your next exhale, lower your knees all the way down to the mat, and we're going to roll it down. Make a pillow with your hands, rest your head, rock your hips from side to side. Windshield wiper legs are always welcome here. They feel good. They feel nice in my body. Return your hands to beneath your shoulders. Press back. Find your way, downward facing dog or tabletop, yogi's choice. Stabilize. Inhale to look forward. Exhale to step your left foot forward between your hands. Lower that right knee down to the mat if it's lifted. And let's set up that same twisting lunge. Grab a block if you were using it. Root your right hand to the center of the mat. Inhale, peel your left arm open, this time shoulder mandalas. Exhale, sweep that left arm around in a circle. Remembering, as always, turn your heart toward the sky at the top. On your next exhale, both hands come down to the mat. Space evenly. Turn your right toes under to lift your back knee. Look forward and step together. And fold. Full, beautiful lunar pause right here. Just let it go. Rock from side to side if that would be nice. Turn your head. Move your jaw. Just addressing any points of tension that might be present. And then exhale, roll your way up to standing. Inhale, sweep your fingertips to the sky. Exhale, hands come back to heart center. Connect once more with your intention or your dedication for your practice. Release your hands down by your sides. From here, let's make our way back down to seated on the mat. I'd like to run through a little neck and shoulder sequence. So we're going to be seated for a couple of minutes. So I'd like you to choose a seat that's very comfortable for you. So if that means grabbing a pillow or a block to sit on, feel free to do so. And I'm going to sip of coffee while you do that. All right, so once you have found your comfortable seat, take a moment to just breathe. And then on this next exhale, lower your chin to your chest and let's start finding some neck rolls. So roll your head all the way over to the right side. And then come back through center and all the way over to the left. So we're just tracing a beautiful smile across the front of the body. And as you do so, notice if you're discovering any little points of tension. So if it would feel good to linger in one particular part of this stretch and breathe out a little sticky spot, feel free to do so. Now, the next time you roll your head over to the right, let's sustain there. So we're going to draw that right ear to directly over the right shoulder, so your face will be facing out. Roll your left shoulder back and down. So you're going to get a nice deep stretch all along this left side. Now, you can deepen that stretch by walking your fingertips out if you would like to. And you can even sort of mess around with where you're feeling that stretch based on the position and the angle of your left arm. So you can try a couple different things here to really get a nice juicy stretch in there. And of course, one last option, if you would like to take this deeper, you can add your right hand to the top of your head, which can take things even deeper. But we always want to go really gently with the neck muscles. They're very delicate in their way. And release. We're going to come back through center. Let's feel that on the left side. So we'll draw that left ear over the left shoulder. Faces again facing out. Roll your right shoulder back and down. Now, stay right here if this feels amazing, or begin to experiment. You can walk those right fingertips away, and you can shift the angle, finding the spot that, ooh, I found one, finding the spot that feels best for stretching. And release. Come back through center. Draw your chin back to being parallel with the earth. So what I'd like you to do now is turn your gaze over your right shoulder. And we're just going to lower our chins to our chests on that side. Now from here, sweep your left hand out to the side and then tuck your left hand behind you onto the small of your back. So you might already feel a little stretch right here. And if you do, you can stay exactly as you are. If you'd like to deepen it, roll your left shoulder back and down and press into your hand. And you'll feel a nice deep stretch along that part of the trapezius. And remember, if it's too much, just relax that shoulder and the stretch will ease. And release. Come back through center, turn your gaze over to the left, lowering your chin to your chest on that left side. Sweep your right hand out to the side and then tuck that right hand behind you. Roll your right shoulder back and down and begin to press into your back. And again, just noticing what's right for your body. You can always soften this stretch. And release. Come back through center. Both hands come comfortably to the lap. Let's find some nice big shoulder circles. So roll your shoulders all the way forward, all the way up. Squeeze them together at the back, all the way down. Finding these huge expressions of movement, really going through your full range of motion. Even if it means things look a little silly, that's totally okay. And then let's go the other direction. So we're going to roll back and then up and then forward and then down. So continuing to draw those huge circles. And release. From here, scrunch your shoulders all the way up to your ears. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. On an exhale, roll them back and down. And feel how nice and long your neck is now. Let's keep working that line down the spine. So let's find some Kundalini circles. On your exhale, shift your rib cage off to the right. And then forward. And then to the left. and then back, and then begin to connect those points. So finding a nice big circular movement. This really helps stretch out the intercostals and the obliques, some of the muscles along the sides of our bodies. And then go the other direction. So we roll toward the right this time. And we come back to center. Perfect. So from here, let's make our way up to standing for our warrior sequence. Now, full sort of authenticity. This may be where things get a little bit sticky. My ankle is still just a little bit grumpy about certain positions. And some of the warrior foot positions are some of them. So what I'd like you to do is start facing the front, being up at the top of the mat. And we're just going to step that left foot back to lunge. So we're going to be working on twisting this practice. Let me face the other direction actually, so you'll be able to see what I'm doing. So for your left foot, you can have that foot facing all the way out to the side if that's more comfortable for your hips. But since we're in Warrior One right now, you can also have that back foot a little more narrow. And what I invite you to do is position your back foot a couple different ways and see what's most comfortable in your body, and then stick with that. Stabilizing right here, we're going to bend that right knee, really sinking in. On your inhale, sweep your fingertips to the sky. And exhale, sweep away, reaching long. Inhale to center. Exhale, sweep off to the left-hand side. Inhale to center. And off to the right. We're just going to follow this a few more times. Now, yogi's choice here. You can stay with that back foot flat on the mat. You are also welcome to pivot to a tippy toe position. So this brings you up to high lunge, and it is more challenging on a balanced front. So you can choose your level of effort today. Now, wherever you happen to be in terms of stance, we're going to sustain this next twist. So we're just going to sweep our hands long, and maybe that left hand comes to the right hip. And we reach that right arm away. If it is open to you, you are also welcome to come down to twisting lunge. You can bring your left elbow to that right knee, palm into palm, and just breathing here, staying balanced. Reaching your crown away from your hip. And release. Coming back up, we're just coming back to center, and we're going to step together. Inhale, sweep your fingertips to the sky, and exhale, fold forward, back, releasing. On your next exhale, roll your way all the way back up to standing. Let's feel that on the other side. Inhale, rise and open. Exhale, hands to heart center, step your right foot back. So we're setting up Warrior One again, right? So your choice for the position on that back foot, it can be dialed in a little bit. It can also be all the way out to the side if that's more comfortable in your hip and in your calf. On your inhale, sweep your fingertips to the sky. Exhale, sweep over to the left side. Inhale to center. And over to the right. So again, choices. You can stay right here in this Warrior One twisting flow. If you would like to challenge your balance a bit, you can pivot on that right foot to a tippy toe position, bringing yourself to high lunge, and then find that same expression, sweeping over to the left side, back to center, and over to the right. And remember, yoga is about experimenting. You can try something and discover that it's awful and go back to the way you were doing it before, and that's fine. I love yoga as a place of curiosity. On this next exhale, let's sustain that twist. So that right hand is going to come to the left hip, left arm reaches long. Now, if you have chosen the high lunge position, the more challenging one, you can also bring your right elbow to your left knee, palm to palm, finding revolved lunge. And just staying nice and centered. We hug that midline, the thighs drawing toward each other. Crown and left hip reach away. Breathe. And release. Both hands coming back through center. Step together and bow. Folding forward. Releasing over your legs. Relax. Just breathe. Coming back to center, bend the knees, exhale, roll your way all the way up to standing. Inhale, rise and open. Exhale, hands to heart center. Release your hands down and take a nice wide stance on the mat. So let's set ourselves up with our feet at about a 45-degree angle. So they're going to be turned out slightly. And I'd like to invite you to bring your hands to your hips, bend your knees, and we're just going to find a little bit of work in yoga squats. So inhaling, lifting up. Exhaling, bending your knees, sinking down. Now on this next exhale, when you come down, just check your alignment for me. So we want to make sure our knees are going out to the sides rather than shifting forward, right? We want to feel this in our hips. And then we just find that pulse again. Now on this next exhale, we're going to add a little bit of spine work. So bring your right hand to your right inner thigh, lower your right shoulder down. So you're actually turning your heart toward your left thigh. Inhale to center, left hand, left thigh, left shoulder dives. We turn, inhaling to center and feeling that on the other side. And find your way back up to center. Inhale, sweep your fingertips to the sky. Exhale, hands come to the heart. And let's adjust our feet. They are now facing forward, so feet become parallel. Inhale, find that sweep. And this time we fold forward. Nice wide-legged forward fold. If the floor feels really far away today, grab a block and put that under your hands instead. Now, once you've touched down, take a moment to soften right here. Relax. Sink your weight into your heels to get a nice back of the body stretch. From here, walk your fingertips as far forward as you can reach, and then shift your hips toward the sky. Now, keeping those points, soften your heart toward the mat. This is all kind of subtle movement, but it gets a nice deep stretch through the mid-back. And then walk your hands in a little bit. Now from here, we're going to lift that right hand and reach it across to find the leg. All right, so we're reaching underneath our left arm. Now, once you have that contact point, you can begin to turn like you're going to peek underneath your left arm. And that'll start to get you a nice twisty stretch into your back. If it's open to you, you can walk your left hand away. For maybe a couple people, that left hand can find the other leg. And release. Let's come back to center. We're going to feel that on the other side. So let's lift that left hand and we're going to dive over to the right. And again, that's coming underneath the right arm. So we can begin to turn like we're going to peek underneath that right arm. Maybe we stay right here. Maybe that right fingertip walks a little further away. For a few people, maybe that right hand finds the left leg. And when people make jokes about yogis being pretzels, this is the kind of stuff they're talking about. And come back through center. From here, exhale, roll your way all the way up to standing. Inhale, rise and open. Exhale, hands to heart center. Release your hands down by your sides and make your way down to the mat. Let's start in tabletop. For one last twist before we begin our downward slide. So from tabletop, and again, knees are beneath the hips, wrists are under the shoulders. We're going to lift that right hand and dive it underneath the left, coming down to the right shoulder, resting our heads on the mat. Now, if this feels perfect, you stay right here. If you'd like to, you can press into your left hand to get a nice deep stretch all across that right shoulder. And of course, it's yoga, so there's always stuff you can add on. If you'd like to float your left arm to the sky and then tuck it behind you, you're welcome to do so. And this makes that stretch just a little deeper, a little more twisty. And come back through. Making your way back to tabletop. Let's feel that on the other side. Dive your left arm underneath your right. Come all the way down to the left shoulder. Press into your right hand to deepen that stretch. Maybe you stay right here. Maybe we sweep the right hand to the sky and then exhale to tuck the right hand behind us. And again, it's whichever variation feels best. And come back through center. Find your way to tabletop and then press back to seated. So from here, let's tuck that left heel in. We're going to extend the right leg long. Turn your heart to face your right foot. Inhale to sweep your fingertips to the sky. Exhale, fold forward over that right leg. Your hands can find wherever they land. So maybe the shin, the thigh, maybe the foot. And we're just going to breathe. Inhaling, creating length. Exhaling to soften. Gently walk your hands back. And let's switch it out. So we're going to tuck that right foot in and extend the left leg long. Turn your heart toward your left foot. Inhaling, lengthening. Exhaling, folding. And again, wherever your hands land is fine. So maybe the shin, maybe the thigh, maybe the toes for just a couple people. And again, remembering the goal isn't to grab the foot. The goal is to lengthen the spine. So let your heart reach toward your toes. And with every exhale, just soften a little bit more, getting the sensation of your back becoming increasingly flat here. And then gently roll your way back up to seated. Draw the soles of your feet together in front of you. Let's find supine, not supine, bound angle pose or butterfly pose. And take a moment to position so you're comfortable. We haven't done a ton of hips today, so you don't need to drag your heels in too far, but I did want to give us at least one good hip stretch. From here, let's lengthen our spine, sitting nice and tall. Now, keeping your spine long and your fingertips helping stabilize you. On your exhale, hinge forward from the hips. So we want to keep our spine long and our backs flat as long as we can. And then when you reach the point where you stop, like this is it for me, then you sustain right here and then surrender, bowing into that stretch. Now, if it feels good to you, you can always bring your elbows to your inner thighs and apply gentle downward pressure to increase that stretch. You can also do that with your calves if that's a little easier to get to. But again, all of this should feel good. And if it doesn't, go back one setting. Gently rolling your way back up to seated. Let's draw the knees together and roll our way all the way down onto the mat. Draw your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. Just massaging your lower back on the mat. Something that can also feel good here are circles, where you just take your knees and you draw big, beautiful circles with them. That can feel lovely. And then coming to center, to stillness. Let's find any additional movements, anything you would like to experience before we close our practice for the day. So if it would feel good to do another twist to open out to either side, feel free to do so. If it would feel really nice to take happy baby and get a hip stretch here, you can do that. This is a good spot for inversions, whatever you want to feel. That's what goes in this space. And then as you are ready, begin to make your way into your Shavasana. Remembering that there are many variations for corpse pose. So of course the classical one is to bring your heels wide, back is flat on the earth. Palms are facing the sky, relaxing the jaw, and just lying flat here, letting the toes fall out to either side. Now, in many bodies, including mine, this causes tension in the lower back, so you can also bend your knees and bring your feet the distance of the mat and let your knees fall together at the center. And that'll allow you to rest without the tension on the lower back. And of course, you are also welcome to take any other meditative position you would like. You can take child's pose here. You can take supine goddess. You can take seated meditation, whatever feels best. So take a moment to find your optimum position for Shavasana. And then once you have found that place of stillness, take a moment to consciously settle your body. Let the places where your body is in contact with a supportive surface begin to just melt a little bit. Let them become less distinct. Relax your jaw. Relax your eyes and your forehead. And whenever you are ready, simply let go and float. allow your breath to create space within your body. Begin to find some little movements of your fingertips and your toes. Just coming back to this day, to this time. Point your toes away and reach your arms up overhead. Take a nice deep breath in, full body stretch. Then exhale to draw your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. Eventually finding your way all the way over onto your right side and curling into the posture of the sleeping child. And just take a moment right here in this space that you have created to feel gratitude to the amazing things that your body will do, and to how strong it is and how well it holds you. And then whenever you are ready and you feel your practice is complete, use your hands to help press yourself up to a nice, easy seated position. Bring your hands to heart center and close your eyes. We're going to close our practice with a round of Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, a prayer for peace. Inhale. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. It is so good to be back and practicing with you. Let me come up and set things up. There we go. Stop the recording.